Hi again. I'm greeting those who have joined already. I think it's 2 minutes past 3 p.m., so we can dive in. I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar on how to engage retail customers with a loyalty program. And we have here Joanna from Microsoft. Joanna, please introduce yourself, and after that, I will introduce myself too. But first, unmute yourself, and then we will be able to hear you.
That's true. That helps. Thank you so much, Zsuzsa. Welcome, everybody. My name is Joanna Wiewiórowska, Joanna for short, and I'm representing Microsoft today. I work for Microsoft in Central and Eastern Europe, working with our enterprise customers, so not the consumer part of Microsoft, and I'm leading the retail practice for Central and European markets in Microsoft.
Excellent. We were very thrilled that Joanna is able to make it and join us, because she is exactly the kind of expert that we wanted to have you, because she knows a lot about how to engage retail customers in this post-COVID world. Today's webinar will be a live webinar. So you will be able to ask questions in the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. And then we will finish in around 47 minutes from now. So you will have time to catch up before your next meeting. And we plan to do it in a way that there is like 40 minutes us talking and then 10 minutes for Q&A. And I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Zsuzsa Kecsmar, one of the co-founders of Antavo. I'm Chief Client Officer now, which means that I help our clients to make sure that their loyalty program is successful. We help with the team of account managers and technical project managers to onboard our new clients. But I'm still a marketeer by heart, because I've been CMO at Antavo for like 8 years since we started. So I can really resonate with the marketeer's problem, because I am also one. All right, so I think we can dive in. And so let's start now. Here is what we will talk about today. I will briefly introduce Antavo, and Joanna will introduce Microsoft, even though we know that who Microsoft is for some years already. I'm sure about that, but I'm sure that she has her special angle too. And then we will talk about customer loyalty in the modern retail world, focusing on today. And then Joanna will talk about the new customer reality in the current situation. And after that, I will share our best practices on delivering an engaging experience in store and online with 6 use cases that we prepared for you. And after that, we can talk about what can be the technology behind all these, and we will bring 3 ways to identify customers in the store. And after that, we can dive in to the Q&A session. So here we are about Antavo. I would like to explain where I am now, because this is not the background that you would see in Zoom or Hangouts. It's our real office, and this is real inventory there, and then that's also inventory there, and there is someone who could stand there as a shop assistant. And if you can read backwards, this is the store that we built up, because we are so passionate about the retail experience that we actually built a store in-house. It was actually very fun to build a store in the office, but also we thought that we needed it, because we wanted to be authentic. We wanted to test all the solutions that we have. We wanted to shoot great videos. So this is the reason I'm standing now in a store environment. We started this company back in 2012, and today we have offices all over Europe, in Milan, Frankfurt, and Hungary. And now we are a team of 50 people with more than 50 clients, including global clients like AB InBev or Pepsi or Benetton or the N Brown Group. And we are very fortunate to have great growth in the past years. And then it's also, we are very happy about that Antavo was listed as a representative vendor in Gartner's 2020 market guide for loyalty management. So we are very proud of that one. I don't want to go through all the things why we think we are different, but maybe just the first one, that we want to fight this discount culture that exists today in retail, because there are a lot of opportunities there to go beyond this transactional relationship, that the customer makes a purchase and you give points. There are so many options out there, and our tools serve this one. And now presenting Microsoft, who everyone knows, but please, Joanna, tell us a bit about how Microsoft helps retailers.
Sure, no problem. Actually, I kind of envy this lovely venue, you know, that you can showcase from Hungary. Unfortunately, I'm not in such a nice place today, because we're broadcasting today from a similar demo space in Warsaw MTC office for a retail challenge conference that we're hosting in Poland these days. So actually the guys booked the venue before me, so I cannot showcase, maybe next time. But having said that, actually I'm sitting now in the Warsaw office, even though I'm representing the regional team, because we're working very closely here with our markets in Microsoft Central and Eastern Europe. I'm representing the team that operates in the enterprise space, working with our major customers across the region, like in Poland, in Hungary, in Russia, Greece, and multiple other markets. And I'm working very closely as a Microsoft industry expert and industry lead. I'm working very closely with my counterparts across the globe, in China, in US, in Germany, in Australia, and many other folks. And we're working hand in hand with our partners like Antavo, coming up with great innovative solutions for the retailers. But we're also working with our customers, our retail and consumer goods customers, redefining their business, coming up with new ideas of how to enhance current processes, but optimize also the existing ones, and also how to change their business to thrive in the future. So that's, as you can see, a very exciting place to be. I'm really happy that I can represent this part of Microsoft.
Excellent, thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's launch into the main topic. So customer loyalty in the modern retail world. So let's see some numbers first. You can see some two big numbers here, 79%, 71% of customers say that loyalty programs are meaningful, and then 79% of retail customers say that loyalty programs make them more likely to continue business with the brand. So these are pretty high numbers, and two of them. And you can see that loyalty is stronger than ever, but it's hard to achieve because there are others who are doing that too. So you would need to stand out from the competition. And there is this transactional approach when you can reward purchases that the customers make, which was happening in the past 100 years, but it's not enough anymore because there is a bigger competition now. On the next slide, we wanted to showcase that what your customers go through while you see a transaction. There are so many other things happening. Below you can see transactions, and after that there is interactions, and even above that there are emotions that the customers are going through. And they go through this before the purchase, during the purchase, and after the purchase. And if you put your program in the context of what the customer feels, it's a much better experience than only focusing on the transactions. So these customers really they're really going after this great experience, and we identified 3 factors what make a great experience. It should be seamless and touchless. It should be communicated through tailored interactions, and it should be powered by digital. And now let me go through these 3 points and talk a bit about them. So what accessible stands for? Accessible stands for is that it's on my phone, where when I'm on my computer, it's there. When I'm shopping online in the evenings, and when I'm in the store, I can just grab it and then I can hand it to the shop assistant. or even better, not hand it to the shop assistant, because this is what touchless is about. It's important in the post-COVID era that we will not want to share things with the shop assistant. We will not want them to touch our little card, or we will not want to touch a kiosk or a pad. Many customers don't even enjoy interacting with the shop assistant, and customers are serving themselves. Like, there is a QR code that can be scanned, and it can direct the customer to the message that you want to deliver. For example, there are places, restaurants, when there is no menu in the restaurant, only a QR code, and if you scan it, this is when you can read the menu. Also, it needs to be shareable. It's part of the seamless and touchless experience. As all of us are connected, we have all these apps on our mobile phones and social media and everything. There is a behavior change in the past years that we don't want to share publicly anymore. So I will not share things randomly on my feed, even though Facebook's always asks me how I am feeling. I will usually not share that. And this kind of sharing moved into personal sharing in the past years. So it's about personal messages. I will send a message on Messenger instead of putting anything on my wall, or I will just send someone a message on WhatsApp. So it got more into the personal space. All right, so it was how it should be seamless and touchless. Now, communicated through tailored interactions. There's a need for personalized interactions, because if it's not relevant to me, I will be not interested. If there is a general 10% discount, like, it's not that appealing anymore. We as humans in the 21st century, expect things more targeted, and it's not just us marketeers, it's everyone as the customers too. And these customer experiences, loyalty programs, should be data-driven. If we have the data, we should use this. So the loyalty program should be tailored, personalized, and segmented. It should not be the same for everyone. And of course, it should be fun. Gamification is a great part of loyalty programs. I will share some examples in this presentation. And what Powered by Digital stands for? Well, being omnichannel is a must already. And it needs to be on demand. We shouldn't need to search for it. It should just be there. I also feel it in my experience as a customer. I'm more impatient than I was years ago. I just want this to be done. I just want it to be here. And marketeers need to accommodate to this new challenge. This is what contextual is for. And we need to find examples from e-commerce, because e-commerce is optimized and seamless. And this is the experience that customers would expect in the store. All right, so what is the new customer reality in the current situation? I would like to hand it over to Joanna now.
Thank you so much, Zsuzsa. So obviously we cannot, discuss the loyalty without looking into the customers. And I wanted to start this conversation of ours with one number that I find really striking, actually, when I learned about it August this year, that up to 46% of us customers tried new brands or made purchases with a new retailer during the lockdown, the spring wave that we all experienced. That was an eye-opener, a real eye-opener for me. I would expect that probably, during the times of uncertainty, during the time of lockdown, customer might stick to the brands they know, that they might stick to the retailers they know and trust. But apparently the disruption was so strong and the connection between the customers and the retailers not strong enough to actually maintain this relationship and keep them loyal to the retailers. This number goes up to 46% in the US. It's slightly lower in some other European markets, but I believe it's still a good starting point for all the retailers and for us all here as we sit in this virtual room to consider what we know about customers these days and how the 2020 experience, the lockdown, the pandemic actually influenced them. So moving on to another slide, actually I wanted to also position a couple of numbers that we that we're trying to move the slide here, but I need to probably help here.
Yes, you will need my help, and happy to click for you.
All right, thank you so much. So actually, I wanted to also put in this context a couple of numbers from the early 2020, defining the situation for 2019 when it comes to the number of brands and retailers already running a loyalty program and engaging with some more meaningful relationship with the customers. And again, that particular research was made based on top 100 brands in the US. And I think the numbers are a bit overrepresented, considering that we're talking about the top enterprises. Still, 24% of the brands did not offer any loyalty engagement, any loyalty program for their customers. And 50% of those brands were actually were running the loyalty program that was based on a very transactional relationship, rewarding with some perks, with some benefits, shopping, repeatable shopping. And only a small part of those retailers, and I'm thinking mainly the fashion brands, the more digitally capable brands, were engaging into more experience-driven activities. And all in all, I think it wasn't a good position to start with when we entered the lockdown in spring, and when we experienced this disruption, when retailers were cut away from their customers. But I see also some very good, very positive information here. When you look at the numbers, quite big, quite sizable chunk of retailers started collecting their customer information. Let it be transactional. Maybe it's yet basic customer record, but it's a good starting point to build on that. If we would like to actually look at this again from a different perspective, from a different angles about what the loyalty programs looked like, let me move to another slide and put this in a slightly different perspective. Zsuzsa, if I may, thank you. So what I wanted us to consider is actually what was the typical loyalty program before the COVID stroke, and what are the learnings from the spring this year. I believe, and that's my personal opinion, but I believe that retailers expected too much of their customers. They were quite reliant on the customer to come back to the store, to carry their loyalty card, to collect the points, or keep the track of their shopping journey and so on. They even, I think, I call it, they even broadcasted the information at the customers in a very old-fashioned way. In my mind, the retailers very often still communicate very in one way, in a sense that they are not really seeking interaction, they are not really seeking communication with the customer, but they're behaving like TV broadcasters in the old days, communicating certain content and kind of hoping that the customers will be pleased with that. Not to mention that many of the retailers actually communicate in a non-digital way still, believing that a big chunk of their customers is not yet digital savvy. We're gonna probably challenge this assumption here with Zsuzsa. What we learned actually during the pandemic, and I think it's quite important, is that customer immediately started moving to the digital channels. When they were cut off from the physical experience, when they were not willing even to interact with the physical store, with other customers, with the shopping, with the shop attendants, they were willing to try something that they have never tried before, e-commerce and mobile apps. And we could experience as much as 10 years worth of growth of e-commerce in just 90 days. It's striking, I think, and that shows the dynamics of the whole transition here. Many of the shopping habits, many of the purchases that the customers were just freely doing in the past were put on hold in the spring. I think we have all experienced that. We introduced this term essential and non-essential retail for describing the situation when some of the retailers could still operate and they were needed, they were sought for by the customers, and some other products were not that much desired because customers were kind of revisiting what they really want to spend their money for. And also, and one important, for me, critical learning is that customers started seeking empathy. They started really seeking community, seeking two-way communication with the brands, with the retailers even. And what was really standing out in spring is that the retailers and the brands that were there for their customers were adding this human touch to their communication, and they were showing the empathy, understanding of the whole situation, the stress that their customers are going through. Actually, those were the brands that were resonating the most, and they were winning in this situation. But one important note here, I think it's important to actually remember that those are not the changes that were started by the COVID. Those are actually the trends that started long before the COVID pandemic, and those were accelerated in the spring. In order to understand that, let me put in front of you the 3 slides that we actually were discussing with Zsuzsa the other day about how customers have evolved, and the whole, Gen Z concept, the whole Gen Z analysis and the change that this generation is bringing to the retail world and to the society. That's where it starts. I think it's important to understand that the youngsters who are digitally savvy, who are using the mobile devices like they were born with one smartphone in their hand, they're actually not the separate group of people and separate group of customers. They're obviously one cohort, but they're influencing us parents, they're influencing their grandparents, they're influencing the society around them. And with this additional push for digital coming from schools and work and all the other communicating devices that we started using as a society, that actually even accelerated the impact of Gen Z. They were the ones teaching us how to operate in this new digital world. And mobile, I'll keep repeating that, mobile devices should be the starting point for all the discussions that we're having now about retailing and communication with Gen Z and other generations. Another aspect, another slide showcasing the change is the redefinition of the shopping habits. The composition of basket, we call it, when I touched on this, when we're deprioritizing certain categories, certain products, and we pay more attention to the ones that are actually more important for us and bring the values, represent the brands that we believe in. That's what happened in the spring, and that influenced many of the consumer goods producers big times. But important also aspect, when we were in this turmoil, when we were experiencing this lockdown in the spring, we, and I'm talking customers, consumers, we have redefined our habits, shopping habits. The majority of the customers who have not ever tried e-commerce went for it. The ones who were actually somehow separating their physical shopping experience with the digital, they learned that it's all the same. They started expecting that the brand that is not in a position to open the stores should actually be reaching out to them in a digital space. And one more important aspect here, the timely communication, the communication that is personalized, that Zsuzsa touched on that already. I think we can move on to the next slide. The communication that is all about humans. At the end of the day, we're all humans. The communication that is empathy-driven and connects us as humans in this very stressful and difficult world of pandemic. I think that is the major differentiator for the young generations when they are choosing the brands, but also it turns out that for the older generations of our shoppers, actually I could experience this even here in the European markets, when the fashion brands that I was actually quite keen on, and I was a user and well, a believer, so to say, of the fashion brand that didn't really change their communication during the pandemic. They didn't really adjust to what was happening around. They were more caring about their financial results, about their sales. They were sending lots of different communication, emails that were all around products and merchandisings and perks, kind of pushing it really hard and selling it really hard. That was very, very annoying at that point of time. While a simple grocery retailer just around the corner, I didn't really expect of them very much. They were sending me messages, we're here for you, we'll take care of you, we'll take care of our sellers, we'll take care of your health and safety. And they were resonating with me. They were collecting money for the people in need. And actually that was something that was quite natural at this point of time and quite good to hear from unexpectedly a grocery retailer, right? So this is something that is not only linked to the COVID situation, but I think it's somehow part of our lifestyle now, and part of the way we look at the brands and we look at the world. And again, those three different trends, those three different aspects were not ignited, were not started by the pandemic. I think those were actually accelerated. And I think, when it comes to the communication, we need to keep that in mind when we start working on the loyalty programs. That's all from my side. Thank you, Zsuzsa. Over to you, because I think you have some remedies here.
Yes, and here are the remedies. Just want to make sure that you hear me well. So here are the remedies. So it's very high expectations from the customers, and it's a lot of acceleration, and it's a lot of competition that a retailer you need to face. So here we listed 6 use cases where which can help to deliver an engaging experience in store and online. Before I dive into these 6 use cases, I would like to remind you that at the end of the webinar, we are happy to answer your questions. And here you see a panel on the right. There is a little chat label in there. If you open that down, you would be able to send us a message. And there you could ask your questions, and there is a question label, I believe, then, not a chat, a question label. And then this is where you can send your messages, and then we will be happy to answer them alongside others. All right, so here we are delivering an engaging experience in store and online. Let's start with the first use case. The first use case is, before going into the first use case, let's not forget what is the system in place right now. Plastic cards exist, and it's very useful in a way that people know what this is. People know, they expect that they might get a plastic card from a company that they like. Also, it's very efficient for older audiences because it's very easy just to grab it and then show it or hand it to the shop assistant. And it's also a good fit for example, luxury fashion or luxury products, when it can be a symbol of exclusivity and status if the card is very beautiful, if it's metallic or things like that. On the other side, it does not provide a touchless experience. In many cases, you need to hand something over, and it's very annoying that there is one more thing that you will want to sanitize. It's a better experience if you just need to show the barcode, and shop assistants are able to scan it. My main problem is that I always leave these cards at home because they don't fit my actual wallet, and it's also a con that it's basically a piece of plastic. So there is no opportunity there to, for example, show your point balance or something. And I'm saying this because the other alternative is the mobile pass. We call this a mobile pass, which is in the mobile wallet. That's a native application on iPhone and Android phones. And that's what you would use to make payments, and that's what you would use to download the boarding card when you are boarding a plane. But it can also store these event tickets, and actually it can store these loyalty cards. So it's a very straightforward solution. And the use case here is that you just show your phone, the shop assistant scans it, and then you are identified. And then let me show you this use case in one big screen. So here we are. The customer shows the card, the shop assistant scans it, and then the customer is identified. So that was the first use case that I wanted to share with you. The second use case is that communicating at the right time and place. This mobile pass is even better because it doesn't only let you to identify the customers, but it helps to deliver push notifications to your customers. And we talked about how communication needs to be more relevant. Well, this is very relevant because this relevancy factor is proximity. So practically speaking, when I walk on the street and I walk nearby a store where I'm a loyalty program member, a message would pop up to my phone saying that this is the reason why you should come in because we have a special day today, or for me, there is this offer that they want to share with me. That's possible with the mobile pass. As it's written here, geo-based push notifications. And then if I go into the store, I'm identified at the POS, and then after that, I can be reached via any kind of communication that is set already. Use case number 3, it has double benefit. So learning about your customers. It has a double benefit that you can learn more from this personalized communication, that you can, it's a fun way for customers to fill out these questionnaires, of course, if it's visualized in a nice way. And also it's an easy entry point to the loyalty program because customers could fill it also when they are not members. In this gamified profiling, as a fun survey, you can gather information, and there can be multiple formats. For example, these are image options, or you can have like these Tinder-like quizzes, which one you like and don't like, etc. And in the loyalty program, you can encourage this profile completion. For example, if I completed this profile, I will be rewarded with 100 points, and that is almost enough to unlock a reward or to buy something in a discounted price, and so on. And the next use case is use case number 4, is driving word of mouth and content engagement. So there is this problem with social campaigns that they may generate awareness, but you as a brand is still dependent on the social channel. So you're just making more money for Instagram, or you are just making more money to Facebook. We, as anyone who communicates on this channel, do not own these channels. We are just the users of it. And so this is why I think this use case is very special, because you can restrict loyalty members. You can restrict this Instagram contest to loyalty members, and they can be the ones who are who can be participating. And this way, you can turn your Instagram followers to contacts who are enrolled in your loyalty program. You could promote it in the store or online. In the store, you can promote it with a QR code, and then you can show a description of how to enter and what to win. So here is this landing page with the instructions. After people connect their Instagram profile, they can post with the relevant hashtag, and it's visible. So your hashtag is out there. From this point, it's like a traditional Instagram contest. Use case number 5 is about boosting customer acquisition, but in a way that it's not shouting to everyone, but also has the opportunity to share it privately. And so this is the friend referral to build a network of advocates. All of the marketeers really like, I think, referral programs because it generates word of mouth. And also me as a person who's shopping, I'm happy to spread the word about a product that I like, but I'm even more eager if I'm rewarded for that. From a brand point of view, the great thing is that you only need to reward if the purchase happened. from the referred customer. So it's really budget friendly in these terms, because you don't need to reward everything, only if that other customer actually became a customer. Okay, here we are. These were the 6 use cases. And here now I would like to tell you more about ways to identify customers in the store. There are 3 ways here for 3 different audiences. I'm sure that you are from all these kinds of companies. There you may be from a direct to customer retailer or brand, or you may be from a brand who sells through retailers. So you don't have the direct touch with your own customers. You don't know them because it's the retailer who sells your product. Or malls, shopping malls, have a very special challenge. They want to keep their tenants, but if they launch a loyalty program for them, it's a big technology challenge, because every tenant uses a different kind of POS system. So it's just a very, very big technology challenge. And a loyalty program, if done in a smart way, could answer this challenge. So let's go with the first one, when the POS integration can help. The POS integration here now is displayed with this card, which is not a mobile pass, but this food and beverages company decided to show a loyalty card in the profile of the customer that they can access on the online view of their site. But the point here, which should be emphasized, is that you just walk into this store and then the shop assistant scans this card, and it's in connection with the POS system because it's integrated to the POS system. And this is how the customer is identified. The shop assistant can say your name, and then you can redeem points, you can collect points. The shop assistant can give you even offers which are tailored only for you. So this is the easiest scenario if someone sells directly to their customers. There is this other scenario when you are a brand. One of our clients is Pepsi, and this is exactly what they were facing. They are a brand and they have no way to get in touch with their customers directly. And so this can be a solution for that. Receipt scanning can be a solution for that. And the use case here is that you as a customer bought something in the store alongside other things, and then you take the receipt, get your mobile phone and scan that receipt, and that application can recognize what is on the receipt with image recognition. That's something that we have within our apps at Antavo, and then this way you can be rewarded for your purchase. After this, either you are already in the loyalty program or you can sign up to the loyalty program. It's a great way for customers to get in touch with brands, and it's a great way to brands to get in touch with customers. The next slide. This is for malls, and in general, coalition loyalty programs, which may not only happen in malls, but can happen in every kinds of aspects of our life. This is an alternative to the POS integration, because in case of malls, as I mentioned earlier, it's very likely that the tenants in the malls have the same POS, and it would be a great technology challenge to integrate with these. So Antavo developed a scanner app for malls that can be used for identification, and that's an alternative to a POS integration. I actually brought here a device that can help to identify customers when checkout. I will just hold it here so you can see. That's an example. It's a big and heavy device, but that's an example of a device that the customer can see and the shop assistant can see. And then scan with the mobile app, and then done. The customer is identified. So I think this is all that we wanted to share. Now I'm heading to this Q&A section, if I can open it and see if there are any questions here. All right, there is a question here. There is another one. Let me see the other ones. For those, so if you're not sure how to do that, on the right-hand side in the panel, there is this questions label, and then you can just type your question there, and it will pop up at us, and I'm happy to read it, and then I can answer the question, or Joanna can answer the question. All right, so here is the first one. Is the Antavo technology able to manage different types of B2B or B2C loyalty programs per country? That's the question. And the answer is yes. We are very happy to manage these different types of B2C or B2B loyalty programs by country. We've seen many things. We've seen when the client had the same kind of structure for all the countries that they managed, and that's very easy. And we've seen when the decision making was in the hands of the actual countries, and they had different loyalty programs, we could manage that too. In many cases, our clients want to separate these databases, and that can easily be done too. So the answer is yes, multi-country support. That's definitely something that Antavo is able to support. All right, the next one is, Joanna, what are the trends you see for 2021 in terms of online versus in-store shopping? So Joanna, I believe this is for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm turning on my camera. Thank you so much for this question. Actually, I would probably stick to the digital as the major trend, because well, actually, when we compare ourselves, our European markets that I'm the most familiar with, for example, Asian markets that are way ahead of the curve. They are very advanced. I think going digital in all the different aspects of retailing, that's the future, and that's where I can see the most of traction with our customers these days. And it definitely goes for the loyalty, but it goes for the digital engagement with the customers, and also it all links to all the data that the retailers can process about their customers to be able to personalize the communication, the offering, and to be able to really resonate with their lives and with their needs. Definitely one important aspect, one important trend that we can see that we're experiencing as we speak is the redefinition of the online, of the offline retailing. So everything that was a concept called Store of the Future in January 2020 is no longer there. I think it needs to be revisited, and all the bold ideas that we had for the future in January are not bold enough for the current situation. So the convergence of digital and physical retail is getting stronger, and just as Generation Z actually expects, there will be no differentiation between the different channels, between the different means of communication, and between the different places that we can shop products. It needs to become one. My favorite description of this is the anywhere commerce. And that's probably the biggest challenge for all the retailers, to set up their platforms, to set up their business, their IT support in a way that actually can deliver on this promise for the most demanding customers. Thank you, Zsuzsa.
Excellent. And I think we have two more questions. How customizable is the Antavo platform? What are the actions you may incentivize beyond transactions? All right, so that's the most fun part of the entire product, so I'm happy to talk about it. There are many things that you can incentivize, and some of them we already talked about some of them in this presentation. For example, when you refer a friend or when you participate in an Instagram contest, but other examples can be, for example, when you bring back your clothes into the store. Many stores have this clothes recycling initiatives if we are talking about fashion, and you can make that part of the loyalty program. So you can incentivize if people bring back their used clothes. Or there is another client of ours who is a sportswear retailer, and they sell other tools for mountain climbing. And basically, they incentivize if you go out and climb a mountain, which is, I think, very nice. And you can do it in a way that Antavo would integrate with Strava, and Strava helps to track these things. So you can think of it in a way that if it's able to be tracked down technologically in a way, then it's likely that you are able to incentivize this. So I think that's very nice. Antavo has this rule editor, and you can set up all these different rules. So you cannot. So what I mean by this is that it's not like you set it up once and then forget it, but you set it up once and then you can set it up again in a different way. So it's very good for the manager of the loyalty program that they are in control. They don't need to talk to us to do things, even though we love to talk to our customers. But the good thing here is that they don't need to talk to us in order to, for example, just to set up new campaigns. All right. And then there is another question. Is it feasible for Antavo to use data of one merchant to get better insights of another merchant or a brand? Well, we don't do that really, because we let our clients own their own data, and we don't directly sync these kind of data. But maybe what you're curious about is that whether we can learn from best practices from one brand and then to suggest it to another, and the answer is yes. So we definitely sync these learnings together, and always happy to share this with our other clients. And Antavo also has this we have some loyalty strategists, even though we are a tech company, but we see this need time to time from our customers that as they know that we see so many loyalty programs, they want us to help with their loyalty program, and then to share our best practices and learnings from other clients. So no and yes, this was the answer to this question. Is there anyone else who's curious about anything? This is the last seconds to get an answer. Yes, there is one more. Can I get your service in India? And the answer is yes, of course. We are happy to serve clients all over the world. And we just launched recently with one of our Indian clients called Pipabella. They are a jewelry retailer. You can look them up, and also their loyalty program. All right, anything else? Anyone else? I think this is it. All right. Yes. So I think we answered all these questions that we wanted. There is one slide that I want to share with you now, and this is about an upcoming webinar, online and in-store loyalty program functionalities in a mobile app. And this will happen on the 6th of October. If you're interested in this kind of topics, then please feel free to join. It will be my senior loyalty strategist colleague at Antavo presenting alongside our great partners from Mito, who is a mobile development agency. And together with them, we have a great way to launch a mobile app in very quickly and very cost effectively, because we built this together in a way that you change something in the platform, it instantly reflects on the mobile app. It's a great alternative to start a mobile app from scratch for a loyalty program. So with this, I would like to wrap it up and thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Joanna, for joining us from Microsoft for this webinar. And I hope—
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you for accepting the invitation. So thank you everyone for listening. We will share the webinar recording with you, and we hope that you will join us next time too. Bye everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.